Right guys, welcome to CrosseMaths Intermediate live lesson. Okay, it's intermediate tier. I'm going to be going through Pythagoras Theorem today. Again, remember the comments will be off. Okay, so if you are viewing this, okay, you won't be able to comment throughout the video. If you need to get in contact with me or need any help, remember you can just message me after the session. Okay, exactly the same. If you are in year 8 or year 7, you want to get a head start on GCSE or year 9, that's absolutely fine. You can tune in. This video will be available permanently on my page, okay? So if you do miss any sessions, remember you can catch up with them immediately afterwards. Right guys, if you are tuned in, can you have a go please at the challenge grid in front of you? Again, remember 3 points for a green one, 2 points for a yellow, and 1 point for a red. You will need a calculator today just for the Pythagoras stuff, okay? So you are going to need a calculator. Give you 3 or 4 minutes just to have a go at that for me. Again, if you're in year 8 or year 9 or year 7 and you find this difficult, okay, don't worry, you probably won't be able to do lots of the green ones, only because you haven't been taught them. Okay, so it's not your fault. You probably haven't been taught that topic yet. Again, I'm going to go through all of this in about 3 or 4 minutes time. So just do your best, have a go, and then I'm going to go through it. Right guys, so last 2 minutes on this. Get as much done as you can. Probably last minute actually. Right guys, so again, some of these will require a calculator, so if you've got a calculator at hand, please have one. If you haven't, don't worry, just wait for me to go through it and I can obviously be the calculator for you. Very straightforward solving equations ones first. Always look at this bit on the end. That one, you've got to do the opposite of whatever that is. If that's a -6, you want to do a +6 to each side to get rid of it. Okay? If I do 5x, move straight down. +6 -6 is nothing. 44 + 6 is 50. 5x equals 50. If I divide both sides by 5 to find out what x is, x equals 10. That's the first one done. That's worth 2 points. Next one. Okay, 0.4 times 0.9. Whoa, down a bit. 0.4 times 0.9. Very straightforward. Okay. I do these, imagine if there's not a decimal there. So I do 4 times 9 first. 4 times 9 is 36. Then I've got 1, 2 numbers after the decimal point. I count back 1, 2. My decimal point in, remember, there's always a 0 before the decimal point. So my answer is 0.36. Next one. That's 1 point. Right, this one is a bit of trigonometry, okay? So if you haven't done trig before, you haven't been taught it, don't worry. Okay, it's one of those, it's quite an easy topic. People think it's really difficult, but it just takes a little bit of practice, okay? Your first step every single time, you've got to label your 3 sides. This long slanty one is called your hypotenuse. This one over here is called the opposite, because it's opposite the 12. And then this one by here is called your adjacent. That just means next to, it means next to the angle. Now, I write down on the diagram somewhere, I write down SOHCAHTOA. The reason I do that is because I want to know which I'm going to use sin, cos or tan. Now, I cross off those sides I don't want. I don't want my adjacent because I know opposite is 12. I know hypotenuse is x. This is the one I don't need, so I'm going to cross that off. I'm going to be using sin. Okay, so I draw up my sin triangle. Okay, I'm trying to find hypotenuse, so I know that's h. So h equals or x equals. Oh, let's do that a bit neater. X equals. Now, what I do is I cover h with my finger. Whatever's left is my working out. You can see underneath that is O divided by sin. Okay, so I got an O value of 12 divided by sin. Make sure you put the angle in as well, sin 42. All of that equals, if you put all that in your calculator, you get 17.9 centimeters for x. Okay, and that's that one done. Again, it's those steps every single time. The only thing it will change is sometimes you have to times at the end instead of divide, but it's always the same thing. Okay, so that was worth 3 points. This one again is worth 3 points, okay? Again, this can be quite difficult. Okay, I've got x squared take away 14, x take away 51. Again, I've got x and x. I've got to fill in this bracket with 2 numbers. Those 2 numbers have to multiply to make negative 51, and they have to add to make negative 14. So the only 2 numbers that I can think of, other than 1 and 51, times to make 51, are 17 and 3. Now, I know that I've got to make a negative 14 and it's got to be negative 51. So the signs will have to be different, and the one that have to be negative to make negative 14, it has to be negative 17. Negative 17 and positive 3 make minus 14, and they times together to make negative 51. Now the last bit, when they say solve, they want you to find out an x value for this that'll make it equal 0. Now for 2 things to times together an equal answer of 0, one of the brackets has to be equal to 0. In order to make this bracket equal to 0, x would have to be the thing that cancels this number out. Okay, so x would have to be minus 3. If in order to cancel this bracket out, x would have to be positive 17. And those are your answers. That's worth 3 points. It's always towards the end of intermediate and also comes up in higher tier as well. Guys, if you struggle to copy them down as I'm going through, don't worry. Again, it's going to be up later on permanently, so if you missed any, it doesn't matter. Indices rules are really easy. X to the power of 3 times x to the power of 7. You always add the powers. Add the powers together, so my answer is going to be x to the power of 10. That's worth 2 points. Easy one, 5.6 take away 3.82. This will probably be on your first page. Okay, I got 3.82. Again, if you've got a gap, you've got to fill it in with 0 and then set it up like that. 0 take away 2, I can't do it, so it's going to turn into a 5. That's going to turn into a 10. 10 take away 2 is 8. 5 take away 8, I can't do that either. 15 take away 8 is 7. 4 take away 3 is 1. 1.78. Really easy question. Too far. 35% of 420. Again, easy one. Get 10% first. So 10% of this. 10% of 420 is 42. Then I need 30%. So I'm going to times that 42. I'm going to times that by 3. Okay, I'm going to times it by 3. That'll give me 126. Then I want to work out 5%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to half the 10% that I already found. Half of 10% is 21. Okay, and then I'm going to need to add these two together to make 35%. 35% would be 21 plus 126, which gives you 147. Very, very straightforward. That's worth 1 point. Solving simultaneous equations. Okay, this is a difficult one, only because if it's the same one I used yesterday in a higher tier lesson, I don't think it gets a nice answer. But simultaneous equations, they are a difficult topic, but again, in lots of ways, they are straightforward as well. So what I'm going to have to do, I've got to make the y's the same. So I'm going to times this top one, I'm going to times that by 3. This bottom one, I'm going to times that by 4. That'll make both the y values into 12. 12y. Okay, so the top one, if I times that by 3, I get 9x plus 12y equals 24 times 3 is 72. What's in there now? I get, if I times the bottom one by 4, I get 16x plus 12y equals 88. If I take these two away from each other, it's the same one as yesterday, so it's not going to give us a nice answer. It gives me 7x equals 16. Again, ugly answer. That would mean x equals, if I take them away, if I divide, x would equal 16 over 7. Okay, I think that should be an 8. Don't worry about that one too much. If you've got an answer for that one, okay, and you got that far, all you'd have to do is sub x in to get the y value. Okay, so give yourself full marks if you got that one right. Last one, nth term. Okay, very easy topic. Okay, nth term of these, you've got to look at the jumps first, and that's what's going to go in front of the n. The jumps each time is going up in 3, so it's going to be 3n, and then whatever comes before the first number, it goes after the n. So if I look at my first number, it's the number 2. Before that, if I'm going up in 3s, before 2 is going to be negative 1. So my answer for the nth term is 3n, take away 1. Right guys, so add those up for me please. It's all out of 18. Again, whatever you got, it doesn't really matter. Okay, it's all about improving each time. I think the green ones would have been very difficult unless you're a really, really good intermediate pupil. Okay, again, do your absolute very best. Right guys, so this is what we're doing today. So this is Pythagoras' theorem, okay? Very straightforward. Now, if you're looking for one of the long sides, this is this one by here, the long sidey one. If you're looking for that one, you follow the same 3 steps every time. You square both numbers, you add the numbers together, and you square root to the end. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for the long x side this time. Okay, in order to find that, I've got to square both my numbers. So I'm going to do 7 squared and 9 squared. That's step 1. 7 squared is 49. 9 squared, let me just do that again. 7 squared and 9 squared. 7 squared is 49. 9 squared is 81. Then on my second step, I'm going to add them together. I'm going to add them up. So add these two up. 49 plus 81 gives me an answer of, I'm going to do everything on my calculator only because I'm smart enough to do it in my head, but only because I don't want to make any mistakes. That gives me 130. And then my final step every single time, I'm going to square root that. So I'm going to do square root of 130. That's step 3. Square root of 130 gives me an answer of 11.4. So the side x that we don't know is 11.4 centimeters. So it's exactly the same thing every time. You square both numbers, add your two answers together, and then square root that answer to find the missing side if you're looking for a long side. Guys, once you've done that, can you have a go at the example on the one on the right hand side? Make sure you get your example down. So that's step 1. That's step 2. And down there is step 3. Once you've got that written down, guys, have a go at the example over the other side for me, please. I think you should make sure you write down these 3 steps as well. 3 simple steps. When you're looking for your long slanty side, square them both, add them together, and square root. Last 30 seconds, guys. Make sure you got that example down for me, and make sure you got your 3 steps down. Right, guys, so very quickly, I'm just going to go through this one on the left, okay? We want to try and find what x is. Okay, cool. So my 3 steps every single time. Step 1, I'm going to square both numbers. So 4 squared is 16. 8 squared is 64. Once I'm there, I'm going to do step 2, which is add them together. 16 plus 64 gives me 80. Okay, and once I've done that, my step 3, I'm going to go on my calculator, I'm going to do square root of them added together. So square root of 80, which is 8.94 centimeters, meant to be units at the end. Guys, it is literally that simple, okay? So there's nothing really special with Pythagoras. Whenever you see a right angle triangle that doesn't give you the angle, and they're asking you, you got 2 sides, you're trying to find a third one, you do something that looks like that. Right, guys, what I'd like you to do, can you have a go, please, at either of those? The box on the left is easier. The box on the right is slightly more challenging, okay? Have a go at either of those. If you manage to finish all the ones on the left, go straight onto the ones on the right. Have a go. I'll give you 3 minutes to get that done. You don't have to draw the triangles out. Remember, once you've got good examples in your book with the triangles drawn, you don't have to draw them out for the exercises, okay? I don't mind. All of these ones are looking for the long side, guys. "30 seconds. Right, guys, so I'm going to go through just the first one, okay? What I'm going to show you is a really quick way of doing this, okay? So we're still going to follow our same 3 steps. However, this time, it's going to be slightly different. We're going to put it all in the calculator in one go. Okay, so if you haven't got a school calculator in front of you, that doesn't matter, okay? Step 1 was squaring both, so I got 9 squared and 4 squared, okay? Step 2 was add them together. And then step 3 was square root. And what that does is it means it puts it all in one sum for you. So when you put it in your calculator, you don't have to do multiple steps. You can just do it all in one step. And that makes it much simpler and much easier, okay? So if I put it all in my calculator, I got 9 squared plus 4 squared, and put it all under a square root, gives me 9.84, or 9.85 for that one. So again, that makes it much easier, much simpler to do. And it just saves you a little bit of time, okay? Because I know lots of us like to save steps, especially if we really understand the topics. Okay, guys, get that written down for me. Mark everything you've done. Okay, if you've got most of them right, okay, you get it, and that's really good. If you got some of them right, that's okay. If you need any help, please message me after the session. I'm more than happy to help you if you need it. Right, those should all be marked up. Right, let's move on. So, there are three sides on a triangle, okay? 2 of them are known as your shorter sides, okay? So these 2 by here are known as your 2 short sides, and this one is always the long one. If you're given the long one, you've got to find one of the shorter ones. That's these steps by here. Okay, so if you're given the long one, and you've got to find one of the 2 shorter ones, that's these steps. The only bit that changes is this middle bit by here. Instead of add, you take away. So, if I was to do another question exactly the same as I did before, okay, I'm going to draw my lines in again, only because it makes it look slightly neater. I've got squaring both first. That's my first step. So 12 squared, and so that's step 1. 12 squared equals 144. 7 squared is 49. Okay, that's step 1. Then I'm just going to draw some lines in, just because it makes it look slightly neater. Because I know I'm not a neat person at all. Step 2 is add them up. So 144 and 49 added together. Again, you can use your calculator for this, okay? It doesn't really matter. I would suggest using a calculator every single time. If I add them together, oh, sorry, it's not add. I take that back. It's not add, it's subtract this time. Ignore me. Easy to make mistakes. 144, take away 49. So we're taking away this time. I made a mistake. Then we're taking away, okay, because it is short side. We're going to take away with a short side. 144, take away that. If I do that on my calculator, it gives me 95. Okay, if I take them away, remember with short side you do take away. I even made that mistake a second ago. And then step 3, so that's step 2. And then step 3, you're going to square root that number. So I'm going to square root 95. Step 3 doesn't change. So if I square root that, I get 9.75 centimeters from my side that I'm missing. Again, if you're ever missing a short side, you square, you take away. Don't make the mistake I did, and then you square root to the end. Guys, if you've done that and got that written down, can you have a go, please, at the one over the other side? Can you have a go at this one that says your turn? Even though we're finding the x at the bottom, remember this is still looking for the short side. I would write down your 3 steps as well. Make sure you write those down. 30 more seconds. Right guys, so very quickly I'm going to go through this one on the right hand side, okay? So we've got this triangle, okay, by here. Now it's the same 3 steps every single time, but with short side the only thing that changes is the middle step. So I'm going to square both my numbers. 23 squared equals 15 squared equals, okay, 23 squared is 529, 15 squared is 225. Step 2, I'm going to take them away from each other, so 529 take away 225, 304, and then step 3 is always to square root your answer. So if I got 304, I'm going to square root that, which gives me 17.4 centimeters. Okay, or not centimeters, sorry. Made 2 mistakes now. Millimeters. 17.4 millimeters. Again, very, very easy topic. Okay, just got to make sure you pick whether you're looking for the long side or the short side right at the start of the question. Right guys, so a couple of ones where you're finding the short side, have a go at those for me. Remember, you can put it all in one line of working if you want to. Make sure you put the bigger number on the left if you are doing that. Give you 2 minutes. If you can get 2 of those done, I'll be really impressed. Again, if you're not watching live, you can pause the video, okay? You can have a go at those, that's absolutely fine as well. Last 30 seconds, guys. Get as much done as you can. Right, guys, so very quickly, just going to go through each of these. Okay, I'll have the answers on myself. So remember, we got 40, you can do it all in one line of work. Got 14 squared, take away 9 squared. So for the first one, it's 10.7 centimeters. Second one, 7.2 squared. Take away 3.9 squared, square root the whole thing. Is 6.05. And then I've got 13.6 squared. Take away 9 squared. That gives me 10.2 meters. And then 27.5 squared. Take away 19.3 squared. Gives me 19.6 meters. Right, guys, make sure they're all marked up for me. Make sure everything you've done, you know whether you're right or wrong. If you got most of those right, again, I think you probably understand this really well. Okay. Right, guys, so GCSE question. Okay, first one, we'll do 2 of these. GCSE question, okay, 2 or 3. Sean has bought a new 50-inch television. It's 27.2 inches high. Sean wants to put the television into a cabinet he has bought 45 inches wide. Will the television fit into his cabinet? You must show your workings. Okay, so there's a little bit of thinking involved in this one. Have a go. I'm going to give you a minute and a half to see if you can get this done. I would draw a picture of the television because it'll help you. And then we'll go from there. Last minute on this, guys, and I'm going to go through it. Right, so they want to know how wide it is, okay, and that's this distance along here. I've drawn in red. Make it a little bit longer. Let's do that again. They want to know this distance along there. Okay, they want to know the width. Now we know the height. They told us in the question the height of it is 27.2 inches. Okay, those 2 little dashes mean inches, and then we know when TVs are described as 50 inches, that's the diagonal. Okay, we know the diagonal is 50 inches. Okay, so we know the diagonal is 50, we know the height is 27.2. We need to work out this side by here to know whether it all fit in. We're going to call that side X. As you've probably guessed now from earlier on workings, this is one of the shorter sides we need to work out. Again, think of the quick way that we did it earlier on, our 3 steps. Okay, I square both numbers, 50 squared, 27.2 squared. I take them away from each other. and I square root that answer. If I put all that in my calculator, remember you don't have to do it a lot, you don't have to do every step, you can do it all in one go. I get 41.2 inches. 41.2 inches is 45 inches wide. You can put at the bottom, yes, it will fit. Okay, very, very nice question. Okay, very straightforward. It is GCSE, and what you'll find is with these questions that have got triangles in them or drawings, they're worth loads of marks. A question like this will probably be worth 4 or 5 marks. Right, guys, let's try another one. Right, so this one, try this one actually. Let's try this one. So, 2 steps. They want you to find what x is. Can you find the value of x by looking at that picture? Calculate the length of the side marked x. Have a go at that for me, guys. Got 2 triangles to work with. I'm not going to say any much more. It's worth 4 marks. Have a go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom into the question only so you can see it. I do suggest you draw a picture. I always say draw your own picture if you're doing shape questions. It does help. The last 30 seconds or so, guys. Again, your mark out of 4 on this question will determine how much you understand this. Okay, I think most people probably will get it straight away from this. Do your best, get as much working done as you can because it is worth a whopping 4 marks. Right, guys, so I'm going to go through it. Right then, so very, very straightforward question. Okay, what I suggest you do is you draw both these triangles out. Drawing the top one, I got a triangle by here, the top one. Okay, I got 6.4 on this side, 6.4 centimeters. This one over here is 4.7. And this one at the bottom I don't know. Okay, then I've got this one over here. Okay, that one, if I draw that up by here, that one is side x I'm trying to find. This side over here is 2.1. And this side I don't know either. What you'll find is these 2 sides match. Okay, these 2 sides match. So if I find this one, that number goes by there as well because those 2 sides are touching. Okay, so if I'm trying to find this side by here, that's the Pythagoras stuff that we did in the first half, the second half. Okay, that is finding the short side. Okay, so if I want to find the short sides, I know my steps. I got to do 6.4 squared and 4.7 squared. I got to take them away from each other and then I got to square root. So if I do that on my calculator, 6.4 squared, take away 4.7 squared, square rooted, gives me 4.34 centimeters. That means that's 4.34 centimeters. So on top of that, this question mark up there is 4.3 centimeters as well. So I'm going to fill that in. 4.34 centimeters. Okay, so that's 4.34. That's 2.1. Okay, by there. I'm trying to find x, which is the long side. So long side, remember the steps say very similar. I've got to square them both. 4.34 squared, 2.1 squared. I'm going to add them this time because it's the long side, and then I'm going to square up my answer. I got 4.82. 4.82. Again, if you got something that's slightly out, but you got a similar answer, mark it correct, because often you can have error carried forward. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you have missed the session, don't worry. These sessions are always available permanently after they've aired. Okay, guys, well done to everyone that's joined in. If you want to tell me how you did, I'm really proud of you. If you've got any questions, please drop me a message.